Does the UFC hate Tom Aspinall? Look, UFC 321's coming up, and it is one of the worst pay-per-views I have seen. Tom Aspinall vs. Cyril Gane is the headliner. The co-headliner is atrocious. It's freaking Mackenzie Dern on the co-main event. But that's not the only reason I'm asking the question, does the UFC hate Tom Aspinall? I've been thinking that way before Tom Aspinall's been booked for this Abu Dhabi card. So let's get straight into this shit. We all know Dana White promised big things for Tom Aspinall in 2025. He said we're going to get the biggest fight of the year, Jones versus Aspinall. We already been through that story, so I'm not going to rehash that old story. The Duck doesn't even deserve to get talked about. But after the Duck retired, this is really where it starts getting concerning for Tom Aspinall. After the Duck retired, they announced Tom Aspinall as the champion in the most boring, worst way possible.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Yeah, wow. Let's celebrate. Let's get the champagne bottles. That was the most monotone, lame, dry, sleepy announcement I've ever heard in my life. I think this post-fight press conference was after some fucking fight night that nobody watched. This was some shitty fight night card. Yeah, Jon Jones officially retired and Tom Aspinall is now the champion. Does this sound like a company that's enthused to have Aspinall as their champion? So one could argue he promotes all his fights shitty like that. Okay, well I gotta pull up more shit. Ever since Jon Jones retired, what have we gotten from Tom Aspinall promotion? What have we got as far as Tom Aspinall promotion? Okay, it took him 10 years to announce this fight. Congrats, UFC, wow. We're gonna go over this fight card later in the video, and I'm gonna go over how shitty it is. But this is all Tom Aspinall gets. This is his big announcement since the Jon Jones fight. He gets the privilege to fight the French guy, Cyril Gane. And Cyril Gane is the A-side here. Isn't that crazy? They already did a pre-fight press conference for this fight. I bet you didn't know about it because it was so fucking lame. And guess where they did it? They did the pre-fight press conference for an Aspinall fight in France with all Cyril Gane fans. And they were all booing Aspinall. Just how the UFC likes it. They want Aspinall to get booed, and they want this guy to get cheered. Why? Cyril Gane lost 3 title fights. Correction, he's been in 3 title fights. He lost 2 of them. What kind of stats are those? He doesn't even deserve to be in the same cage as Aspinall. But the UFC is making Cyril Gane the A-side. Just watch the press conference. I know you guys don't even know about it because it was so lame and under-promoted. But there is a press conference, and Cyril Gane got the privilege of having it in his hometown, in his home country. I'm just saying, that's not enough to convince everybody the UFC hates Tom Aspinall. I get it. But I'm just saying, this is what Tom Aspinall gets for retiring the GOAT. The bitch, the duck, as I call him. But a lot of people call him the GOAT. This isn't how you treat the guy who retires the GOAT. And if you got to give him the Cyril Gane fight, sure. There's an argument. There's no one else. Alexander Volkov got robbed his last fight. I mean, Tom Aspinall already beat Volkov. So you could say this is one of the only guys Tom Aspinall hasn't fought yet. And you're right. Sure, fair enough. But why is it in Abu Dhabi? Why is it on the shittiest card? They did this with Dricus a lot too. They would make Dricus fight in Australia. They would put him on the Canadian cards. They would put Dricus on the worst pay-per-views possible. And now Tom Aspinall's that guy. Now they're doing it to Tom Aspinall. I think they're scared of him becoming a big star. He's not that good on the mic in my opinion. But this guy's got knockout power. And he's the only name in heavyweight that draws excitement right now. He's the only one that's athletic. He's the only one who has some fight IQ. He's the only one who's that fast. He's the only one with decent grappling. and great striking. He's well-rounded. That's rare in heavyweight these days. And the UFC doesn't give a fuck. This is the most amount of promotion you're going to get from Tom Aspinall. And this isn't even coming from the UFC side. This is off Tom Aspinall's YouTube. This is all we're getting from Tom Aspinall. He's eating a tower of pancakes. This is what the UFC should do, all right? Instead of letting Aspinall post all these videos of him eating pancakes, the UFC should cook up something different. Now this is prime Tom Aspinall promotion right here. This is what Tom Aspinall should be eating on his YouTube thumbnail. Duck. He should have duck for dinner, duck for breakfast, duck for lunch, duck for brunch. I mean, come on, you can't just get promised the biggest fight of the year, and then it doesn't happen, and then they just throw you on a shitty fight card in Abu Dhabi. Let's check it out.
I understand if you can't answer this question, but damn it, I'm going to ask anyway. Is there a fight that Dana White wants to see in the UFC above all else in 2025?
So I get asked this every year. And this year, it would be Aspinall Jones. That's the biggest fight in heavyweight history. And at the end of the day, what my job is to give the fans what they want. And that's what the fans...
Okay. Dana White said, we want Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, the biggest fight in heavyweight history. Jon Jones fakes retirement. They announced Tom Aspinall as a champion at a shitty post-fight press conference on a shitty fight night card. And to top that off, the UFC sends Aspinall to a press conference in France, in Cyril Gane's hometown, just so we can see clips like this of Tom Aspinall getting booed, of Tom Aspinall being the B-side to Cyril Gane.
I'll just like, Cyril, you just do your thing, man. You just do your thing. I'll just chill.
And question for...
If anyone should be in their hometown doing a press conference between Cyril Gane and Tom Aspinall, it's Tom Aspinall. He's the champ. He should be the A-side. I get it. They had a France fight night. UFC Paris fight night, right? I get it. But why not have a UFC England fight night? Why not? And then have the press conference there so Tom Aspinall's fans can be in the crowd. And the UFC can push out clips of Tom Aspinall getting cheered by everybody. They won't do that. Why? Does the UFC hate Tom Aspinall? Here's more booing. Remember, UFC loves posting clips of Tom Aspinall getting booed.
Well, just listen to the crowd reaction for the UFC heavyweight champion. They let him have it in the presser yesterday, but I reckon they've got some cheering to do for that man. We'll go head-to-head at UFC 321 in
That's how the UFC wants Tom Aspinall to be viewed. It's the guy who gets booed. Let's watch it again.
the crowd reaction for the UFC heavyweight champion. They let him have it in the presser yesterday.
They just want Tom Aspinall to be viewed as the guy who gets booed. Now, I would understand if Tom Aspinall was this villain, right? If he was public enemy number one. I could understand using this as promotion if he was like a Colby. If he was some type of villain character in the UFC. I would understand it, you know. A lot of fighters want to get booed. Whether you're booing or cheering, shit, that draws numbers, alright? That all press is good press type of stuff, right? But Tom Aspinall isn't a guy that you should promote off of getting booed. He was respectful to Jon Jones the whole time, throughout the whole bullshit. So he clearly doesn't want to be the heel, and he's not. But the UFC wants him to get booed, and they want Cyril Gane to get cheered.
Yesterday, but I reckon they've got some cheering to do for that man. We'll go head-to-head at UFC 321 in
Trust me, no one's getting behind Cyril Gane besides his own country. That's it. Now this is the one that really put the stamp on this theory. Does the UFC hate Tom Aspinall? This is a pay-per-view? I know we're going to Paramount soon, and pay-per-views might not be a thing anymore, but what the fuck is this? This is coming up soon. No one's heard about it. No one knows about any of the fights on this card. What the fuck is this? Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. Don't tell me this is the co-main event. Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. And there's a title on the line for this fight? Give me a fucking break. That's gotta be a joke. But unfortunately, it's not April 1st. This isn't a joke. This is how they're stacking the Tom Aspinall fight card. Right here. This is how they're going to stack the Tom Aspinall pay-per-view. They're going to throw him in Abu Dhabi, which makes no sense for either fighter, especially Aspinall. Why the fuck is Tom Aspinall fighting in Abu Dhabi? I'll never understand that. But this is even more concerning, the co-main event. How is this a co-main event? I would be pissed if this was even the featured fight on the prelims. That's way too high on the card. I would make this first fight of the night. If you absolutely had to include this fight on the card, I would put it at the first fight of the night. Okay? Oh, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. I like it. But come on. That's not enough. That's not enough. Come on. This is the wrong matchup anyway. We wanted Umar versus Petr Yan, but it is what it is. I'm still going to watch the fight. I like it, but still. That's not enough to make up for this shitty co-main event. Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida, right? Okay, 2 top heavyweights. The heavyweight division is dead, though. Tom Aspinall already beat Volkov. Okay? And Jailton Almeida, he's kind of boring. It's kind of boring. We all know that. And then here's the first fight on the main card of the pay-per-view. We got Alexander Raychik versus Mirzakhanov. Maybe the hardcores like this fight. There might be a knockout prediction in this fight. And there's a good chance for a knockout in this fight. But come on. This is good for the hardcores. But where is the casual interest in this card? They know they're doing the UFC knows they're doing Tom Aspinall no favors with this type of card right here. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. The pay-per-view model's still going on right now. This is an $80 card. That's laughable. That's laughable. Does this not seem like the UFC's trying to hinder Tom Aspinall's star power? If I wanted a champion to not be well known, I would throw him in Abu Dhabi and I would put a shitty main card below his fight. That's what I would do. And I would put up the worst co-main event I could find. That's what I would do. I would make Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern as the co-main event to really seal the deal that no one notices this card and no one watches this fight. And that'll really seal the deal that Tom Aspinall doesn't become a big star. What, he knocks someone out in Abu Dhabi? He's English. You think all the Abu Dhabi fans are going to be like, yeah, Aspinall, that's our guy. They're all going to be there for Umar. Everyone's going to be there for Umar, probably. Not that Umar's a star, but that's more of his region. Tom Aspinall just seems a little out of place in Abu Dhabi. Where's the connection with the fans in Abu Dhabi? Is there any connection with the fans in Abu Dhabi and Tom Aspinall? And he's not even fighting an Abu Dhabi fighter. He's not even fighting a Russian fighter. Makes no sense. But let's go over the last thing, because after Tom Aspinall knocks out or submits Cyril Gane, he has no fights left. And that's due to one reason only. It's not because the heavyweight division is shallow. Because we still have a contender lurking. He just hasn't emerged in heavyweight yet. But Dana White is preventing it. He's hindering it from happening. Dana White is stopping Alex Pereira's heavyweight debut because he doesn't want to promote Tom Aspinall. And he doesn't want to let Tom Aspinall fight a star. If you don't believe that Dana White doesn't want Tom Aspinall to have big fights, watch this.
Is him going to heavyweight something you would entertain at this point?
By the way, they're talking about Alex Pereira. They said, is him going to heavyweight something you would entertain?
So today I was at work and had a bunch of meetings over there this afternoon, and I went over to the PI, and he was over in the PI. And I'm like, well, you're the last guy I expected to see here today. What are you doing here? And they're telling me, we want to fight at heavyweight. I said, how about we win tonight and focus on tonight, and then we could talk about, heavyweight. And
So Dana White heard Alex Pereira and his team say, we want to go to heavyweight. And Dana's like, let's talk about that later. You got to fight tonight. But what Dana White was really thinking was, damn it. If he goes to heavyweight, we're going to have to make him fight Aspinall. I don't want Aspinall to fight a big name. I don't want Aspinall to fight Alex Pereira, a superstar. What if Tom Aspinall wins? Tom Aspinall might become a star. He might take some of Pereira's star power. I can't let that happen. Let me just shut that theory down. Let me just shut that thought down. Right away. I don't want anyone even thinking about a potential Aspinall versus Pereira fight. That could elevate Aspinall's name. We can't let that happen, can we?
I don't know. There's still fights here in this division, but we'll see.
Dana White just said about Alex Pereira, you know what? I don't know if you should move up to heavyweight. There's still fights in your division. Did you hear that shit?
I don't know. There's still fights here in this division.
Oh, there's fights in Alex Pereira's division, all right. Carlos fucking Ulberg. That's it. If you're Pereira, or if you're the UFC, who are you choosing? Are you choosing Pereira to fight Carlos Ulberg or Tom Aspinall? Let's play what Dana said one more time.
I don't know. There's still fights here in this division.
Okay, so Dana White said that about Pereira. You still have fights in your division. What about Tom Aspinall? The dude has no fights in his division. He has no fights. Look, I know Dana White. Maybe Dana White just hates the heavyweight division in general, and he wants to get rid of it, which is sad. The heavyweight's supposed to be the baddest man on the planet. Now it's looking like Ghost Town. It's looking like the least skilled fighters on the planet. But maybe he just hates Aspinall. Maybe the UFC doesn't want to promote Aspinall for whatever reason. The facts are there. Throw him on the worst pay-per-view possible. Put him in a region that he has no connection with the fans. Throw him at a press conference in France. And let the champion, Tom Aspinall, become the B-side. Let Cyril Gane, a guy who already lost 2 title fights, be the A-side. And let's have a press conference in France. Okay. And then, let's shut down Alex Pereira's hopes and dreams of becoming a 3-weight world champion. Let's shut that down. And instead make him fight Carlos fucking Ulberg. Let's let Carlos Ulberg get the super fight. Because Tom Aspinall doesn't deserve it, okay? Yeah. Don't make Pereira fight Ulberg. Pereira versus Aspinall. Let's give Aspinall a good title fight after the Cyril Gane fight. And let's keep Jon Jones out of the equation. That's my take on this. Let me know if you think Tom Aspinall's being underpromoted. Hit like, hit subscribe, all that stuff. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.